this will be especially useful in science classes where you'll use like the mass of an electron. You can store that in a variable, and your calculator can hold 26 different numbers at a time because it has a bunch of letters. So type in any calculation you want, any number you want. I'm going to type in 1.9. Hit enter. Or don't. So that puts that. Then you can either store the answer, or so you can write a number, and then instead of hitting enter, you have a button on the bottom right of your calculator called STO with an arrow after it, or bottom left if you're looking at it, called STO with an arrow. Everyone see that button?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Hit that button once. Don't hit enter yet. Your calculator has a bunch of letters. The way to get a letter is to hit alpha, which should be somewhere around here, followed by any button that has a letter over it. There's a lot of them. So your calculator should be showing something like a number like 2 or whatever, arrow, and then a letter like A. Could be any number and any letter. And then if you hit enter, it has now stored that value into A. And if you type A again, it'll put out that value. And now if this is what I wrote, and then I typed in 3A, it would give me 6. And until you reset that to 0, it'll store that value in your calculator. You store 0 in that variable instead. There is a way to, no, you pretty much just store 0. So that's useful if you have a number in a problem that you think you're going to have to use a lot of times, and it's a long number, and you don't feel like typing 10 digits constantly, you can just store it in a letter, and it's a lot faster. You store 0 in it instead. 0 is the default value. If you want to reset this to 0, you would just type in 0 store A. You usually don't need to, because just don't use a variable if you don't know what's stored in it. Store something in it first and then use it. But that's the first fairly useful thing. Next thing that you should probably, everyone kind of get how to store things. Anyone having any issues? We can spend time on this. This is useful. It's really just a time saver. The other useful thing is if you have a decimal and you write it on paper, you're rounding it more than your calculator does. So if you want to keep all the precision without needing any more effort, you can just write it as A and then round at the end, because rounding at the end is better. You don't lose any precision. Probably not that useful in most math classes, but fairly useful in science classes. Your calculator won't round for you. If you wanted to round it to 3 decimal places, you could carry all 9 without much effort, and then round it. So it'll be perfect. Next thing that's fairly useful for science and math, graphing. How to graph, there's a button here that says y equals. It's on the upper left above all the buttons. You press that, you get a whole bunch of things that say y1 equals, y2 equals, and so on. If you just type in something, you can graph it. So let's try putting into, the way to get an x variable to graph it against is there's a button here roughly that has like an x, a t, a theta, and an n on it. If you hit that, you get an x. So try graphing, we're just writing into that x squared into the x. Put one of these into y1 and the other one into y2. You can just scroll with your arrow keys.
Which button?
It's a little tricky, so let me know if it's...
Wait, that's not... We don't have it now. Oh. Wait, and then what?
Oh, and then you press the graph right here to graph it.
Oh.
Whoa, look at it. It'd be cool.
I would actually, yeah, come with the TI-84.
Wait, so how would you...
I don't know if high school might use Inspire.
Wait, no, wait, Ben. So wait, Y1 would be... Wait, Y1 would be like...
Maybe...
Like 1... Oh, and then y2.
Damn.
Everyone all right with how to graph things?
No, wait.
So then if you want to see what that looks like, there's a button here called graph, and that'll show you the graph if you hit that button.
So basically, I think you did something wrong.
That's so cool. Alright, okay, got it. Whoa. I did. Say a word. It's supposed to. There's this one.
Alright, so when you graph it, it's showing you a part of the graph, but it's not showing you the whole graph, obviously, 'cause the whole graph, yeah.
When I try to press graph and it just says that.
Let me see.
Oh yeah.
To power of edit.
You had some spots on
Oh, I'm
That's so
graphing
cool.
an exponential function.
It goes like from left to right.
Yeah, it.
That's your next one.
Exponential function. Whoa. Wow, this is how you use a graphing calculator. Now we have all the knowledge that every single other person has.
Alright, so that's showing you a piece of the graph, but obviously it's not showing you the whole graph because your calculator window is like that big and the graph is like bigger. So if you want to decide what part of it you see, there's a button here called window, the second one over of these top buttons. If you hit that, you can change. I really wouldn't, there's a whole bunch of things you can change. I would really only change X min, X max, Y min, and Y max. As you might expect, that's the left bound, right bound, bottom bound, and top bound. And depends what you want to look. So you should really look at what your function is. So suppose we wanted to look near the intersection. You can calculate where these intersect without a whole lot of difficulty. And then just put a window near that. So where do these intersect?
2,
Yeah. So
and whatever.
And mine is 0.7 something 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 something.
we'll look at one of them. Well, 2, 4 is the easy one to calculate. So we'll look at that one.
Oh, okay.
So you could put in a window that goes, say, from 0 to 4 in the X and from 0 to 6 in the Y. Or you could go from -4 to 4 in the X if you want to be symmetric. You can make the window whatever you want so that you see what you want to look at. This is actually a pretty good window to kind of see where the function looks like. But if you type in a window that goes up to 4 and up to 6, yeah.
No, sorry.
So you can do this. If you want to look at a window that actually shows you which one of these, how these behave, anyone have an idea about which one of these should get bigger faster?
Wait, how do you make
But if
the-
you look at
how
a
do you-
small
how do you
window,
make
it
the
doesn't
brightness
actually
bigger?
look that much bigger. I mean, 2 to the 5th and X squared are pretty similar. Like one's not clearly that much bigger than the other on the window. So you might want to look at a window that goes up X up to 10. And if you let X go up to 10, then maybe you'll be able to see, you'll need to make your Y a lot higher. But you can play with the window to see different things. If you zoom out, you'll kind of see broad behavior, but you won't see what it does in any small area.
So